Hi, folks. Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we get into it, I do have some bills to pay. The Historical Fencing Guild is made possible by a generous support from IndieCD.org, including the lovely box right here. This RBG, well, R, doesn't have RGB. It just has R. But Uberbox has allowed me to stream to you today, and the StreamYard that I'm doing this on. We are also made possible by sales of. Where are we? The Simple Sword, as well as the Fighting Axe and the Simple Spear. Now, these guys are all three parts of my ongoing series of how to learn to sword fight manuals made in plain, simple English. They are meant to stack on each other. So it is much better to read this one first. Now, I understand that there's a cost variance because this is a very expensive volume. I am working on a new volume that will be less expensive, but much less comprehensive. Okay, but it will fit in this set of books. That is probably slated for 2024 before that's even going to be a thing. I've got many projects ahead of that, but it's coming. But more importantly, we're made possible by the amazing patrons over at patreon.com/historical fencing guild. These people donate as little as $1 a month, and they get first crack at my pre-recorded videos. They get to basically request, demand, etc. I have the whole list of videos that I need to do from those people that I will be checking off. Cutting videos were requested. I acquired pumpkins. I've been hacking. I've got one in the can and out, and I hope you guys enjoyed getting to see me cut. It's the first time I've cut anything on camera, and yes, there were some difficulties, but let's be honest, difficulties happen. I want to thank them by their handle, or as best as I can pronounce, Off in the Woods, Frog G, Ronald Rain, That's Bladed Thesis, Brian K. Morris, Cindy Kep, and my own buddy Steve Augusto. These folks have given freely of their funds so that I can continue to teach people how to be dangerous safely. Thank you, all of you. Now, we are also made possible by the rest of the books I sell on Amazon, and there is a point where the game design I do does overlap what we do. So I want to talk about something that we're going to find in the chat before I get into the bread and butter of today's episode. You will find a new link. Oh, did it just give it to my... It went straight to my store and didn't give me the link to the book. That's okay. If you go to my store, you will find Melee. Melee is the first game I published way back. I made it in 2005 to be a simulator for SCA combat. It was SCA armored combat. That tells you how old it was because I was still, considering dabbling in that, area. The game is very simple. It's not the fastest game. It's meant to be played on a grid, but it allows you to reasonably replicate the fighting styles of small unit forces and pitch them out. It's a good, solid little game when you're tired of the same chess and other things. So I have recently revamped that. I am planning to do a reformatting on a lot of my KDP Kindle books. So the books I've done for Kindle, I read my reviews, and the people have spoken that a few of them, there's been some kind of technical difficulty. If that's the case, I will do what I can to re-update it and hopefully be able to respond to those people and get something fixed. Some people are persnickety. Some people, It is what it is. As I improve, I want my products to improve. So there may be new additions in the future. I am working on it, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that that's what I'm doing. Now, you may notice that my voice is a little harsh today. I went shopping and I was exposed to something. I am not sure what it was, but I had a fairly bad allergic reaction to it, basically instantly. My I swelled up quite a bit. I had trouble breathing. I got dizzy. It was very, very unpleasant. So I am going to do my best to go through this show best I can. Let me throw that out while I'm sitting here because I forgot to hit send on that. But if I end up having to call it early, you understand why. And that's why I'm kind of red and rather puffy looking. So don't be concerned. I am okay. I'm also not alone. So if my symptoms rise past where they are, I have people to intervene. But the show must go on, and that's what I'm doing. Today's program is a very special program because I wanted to start discussing something that I've had people reach out to me about. And what they've reached out to me about is, let me just do that real quick, is I want to get this item for my sibling or my spouse. They're getting into sword fighting, and I'm not sure what to give them. Let me just drop that banner. It's throwing them off just a little bit. There we go. So I started doing some research, and I actually got a little sidetracked because I found some very cool things that, while they may not apply this year, will be interesting to keep our eyes on. Of course, have some old favorites, one of which I made sure to have brought up so that I can demonstrate it as if you don't know what to get, there is one thing you can get. Just about any swordsman that I know who's at least a Western martial arts swordsman, as a trainer fallback thing that I cannot see anyone having a problem with, even if they already have one. And we're going to start with that. And I believe if I go into the comments, I can mention that. But because I want to make sure you guys have the best options, the best deals, and the best quality for what I find works well. I may have to do a second episode of this for armoring, which is fine. But we want to go over that as we progress. So I want to go, what I'll do, instead of just dropping into that, I'm going to drop I've got a whole bunch of links in the chat to help people find some of the things I'm referencing. I will be putting up a document on the Historical Fencing Guild list with all the links, and they will all be in the form of my affiliate links, so that if you wish to buy something from Purple Heart, it costs you nothing, but I get a small percentage tacked on, I believe, in store credit. I'm sitting at about $3, which is fine. And that money will be used to purchase stuff from them and then review it more for you. But if you're looking to get into what we do, you have no idea what you want to do. You just know you want to learn to sword fight, and you're not sure what style, you're not sure what general feel you want. I'm going to recommend the 1.33. Let me put this. This is going for, I want to say, just under 40 before shipping and handling. Give me just a moment so I can check my list real quick. Yep. So $34.99. Even with shipping and handling, it should be sub $50. Your first trainer or your first couple trainers, you want to be as inexpensive as possible. Now, this will be slightly blade heavy. I mean, it's less than a pound overall. It's light enough that even with my conditions, I can make it go quite nicely. It is a one-handed basic arming sword. It's called a 1.33 because it is designed off of the swords depicted in that manual, which is an early treatise on Western sword technique. It has all the earmarks that I like. It is light. It is very sturdy. I've had quite some time to put behind this guy. I have no real problems. Any time it takes a bend, I've been able to train it back out. There are a couple of limitations on these guys. First off, flex is not a thing. For theoretically $30, flex is not going to be a thing. The other thing that I want to put out there is you have to be careful around any of these trainers with extreme heat, because they are a type of high density polypropylene. They are a little susceptible to warping, and they get a bit softer under extreme heat. We found that out during the demo that we did at Shakespeare in the Park at the Twin Oaks Park in New Chicago. However, these are still bang for your buck. If you don't know what you want, but you insist on buying something, I do recommend this. Now, yes, there are cheaper like alternatives, and I will mention those after I go through here. However, the reason I am going to always lean you towards either Purple Heart Armory for your plastics, your synthetic swords, or Zen Warrior Armory for your steel fencing swords, is I have a personal belief, a personal dedication in a concept called shop small, which means you're buying from small companies that need it. So in putting my money where my mouth is, I do support local, American businesses doing the best they can with what they've got. And Purple Heart Armory definitely falls under that category. I've been, they are currently the only company that I have affiliated myself with in the field. I still recommend Zen Warrior Armory because I knew them back when they were a branch of Triplet Competitions Arms, TCA. Yeah. And I've been dealing with them for my preferred fencing swords if I'm purchasing them, and replacement blades and blades that I put riggings on for many, many, many years. So that one I've dealt with them. They're really good in the weapons department. In armoring, I will probably do next week. We'll talk about armoring as a purchase if I don't get it today, because a lot of it can be done much more economically at home by just making your own armor. There are lots of resources. If you want to buy, there are great resources, and I can put you guys through that on through some. Zen Warrior carries a lot of that gear too. I mean, not Zen Warrior, Purple Heart Armory. But if you don't know what to get your sword fighting friend, this trainer is a great start unless they're SCA heavy. If they're SCA heavy, getting them a 3-foot piece of rattan will make them happy. I'm serious. Unshaved rattan will always make an SCA heavy fighter happy. You know what? I'm going to do a random test. Hey, Amanda. What? If I gave you a 3-foot piece of rattan, would you be happy? Sure. You see? She hasn't fought that way in a long time, but it still makes her happy. This is a good thing to know. But this is your go-to. Now, there are other ones I've mentioned, and I have to find where they are because I'm redoing my study. But the D-handled Bowie I really want to mention because it has the added benefit of being actually available, because he's done a lot of shows, Christian Dorst, and there's availability options, and weapons are falling, crash, bang, boom. So when you go to PHA, Purple Heart Armory, and you go through my affiliate link, and I know you are because I get to see how many people have gone through using my affiliate link. And if you buy anything, please make sure before you do it, at the very end of the gobbledygook that you put and click capital CLICK equals 1745. You put that at the end of the site with the item you're buying. That gets me my commission, basically. But I will never recommend something that doesn't work. I have this stuff called integrity. It's rare, but it does exist. So I was going through there, and they have, well, here, let's do it like this, because I want to talk about this real quick before I get into your comments, because you guys always have the best comments. But I want to share screen, PHA, share, and give me just a second. Hi, here we go. See, question mark click is for my site, and click is for all the other goodies. You can't see that because it's inside. So we'll worry about that later. But, oh, those can't tell what I've been looking for. We're going to go to basic trainers. The reason I'm starting you off with basic trainers is I want you guys to start the least expensive option for anything you're doing. And we are going to do some things here because I want to go by availability. And the reason I'm going by availability is normally I go to PHA, I know what I'm looking for. If it's not there, I either talk to Christian or I get on the email me when it is available, and then I could buy it when it comes in for practice. Or a lot of times I order things for people because, frankly, I'm home the vast majority of time, so there's some porch pirate protection. And I am sorry about having to take a drink there, but it is what it is. But let's see. And the availability has shifted literally since the last time I looked. This is, believe it or not, especially for people of vaguely small stature, a wonderful, wonderful trainer. You've seen me demo it. I want to say, has a 24-inch blade. A 20-inch blade, 26 overall. This is definitely in the short sword category, but for it being sub 30 before shipping and handling, it's a great deal. I want you guys to, again, this is one of the most efficient trainers. It's one of my favorites. I was experimenting and I cut the paracord off because at the time I was trying to make swords that I could fight with around the big braces because they thought I would be wearing the big braces for the rest of my life, and now I only sleep in them. It's a great deal for the smaller fighters. It's a great deal for anyone getting into it. I'm big on hand protection. I will always recommend basket guards, cup hilts, anything that gives you extra protection on top of the gloves so that you don't hurt your hands, because I am an artist. Some of you are artists. I am something close to a musician. I haven't been keeping up with it. When I'm feeling a bit better, I'll drag out my tin whistle and I'll start messing with Christmas music again, because I always do this time of year. However, I was about to say, well, this beard is naturally this color. It is, but it used to be red and coppery. So, around that. This is another great trainer. And what I love about the basic line is they are brilliantly inexpensive. If you want what Trey and Joey love, the Dusik, this is the modern take on the Dusiks that Trey and Joey have used in many videos. It is lighter, but still has the nangle, which is that part that sticks off to help protect your hand. These, again, give remarkably solid hand protection. They are light, easy to use, and if you're looking for something to be in the department of a machete, these guys are great for it. It's again 31 overall, so it's about a 26-inch blade. With a dussock, it's a little hard to figure the exact point where the blade starts and stops. But again, with shipping and handling, it should be sub 50, right around 50. That is a good deal, folks. And I want you guys, when you're looking at, think of something light, something that they can protect themselves with if you're going into that. Now, I will, like I said, I have a document that will have all the links that I'm going for. But guys, while I was digging through all these, I found some cool stuff. And I'm trying to find where, so pardon me if I'm scrolling too fast, a couple of the things that I didn't know had been made or are going to be made are. So these are set up by availability. So what I'm probably looking for will be at the end. But they have single tiger hook swords. Oh, wait. Guys, I want to talk about something real quick because I literally talked to Christian on the chat, which is why I'm a little dispopular. These are the longsword youth trainers. They are 36 inches long with, I want to say, a 26-inch blade. Sizing. 36, 26 and a half. For many of us shorter people, that's going to give us a very good grip. Yes, they say it's geared towards 6 or 8-year-olds. I don't care about that. I think these would work really well, and I've been trying to get my paws on them. So I'm really thinking you guys might want to get your paws on them as well. Plus, you have, unlike the others, the paracord, you can get different color grips put on there. I believe just the black grip is the no extra cost. But I think that's really great, and I think these are going to be something that I want to get a bunch of for many of my fighters. So I wanted to put these out there. Now, if you go back to the trainers real quick, I'm trying to remember where they were. There is a karambit trainer. There is a couple Civil War officer trainers that looks like it's going to be a delightful weapon. Is the sizing? It says 14 points. That's not right. I know that's not right. So he's working on some stuff. But what got me going, and let me see if I can find. Yes, Christian will be putting out sometime in the near future, and I'm hoping it stays around $40. A Kriegmesser basic trainer. This means it will be in the $30 or $50 range instead of the only other way to get a Kriegmesser, for those of us who love them, is to purchase one for $115 in the nylon. So I would really recommend get the cheap basic one. See if it's comfortable. Make sure you love the weapon before throwing $115 at the nylon version that will have flex and is safer. This is all really good stuff. I want you guys to look through it. So I just wanted to stop. I wanted to get you guys into some of that. We're going to talk about some of the other options that we have to talk about, but I don't want to go a half hour without getting into my lovely chat because you guys are family. So I'm going to get right into the chat, and please like this, please share this around, because I'm trying to get the message of inexpensive gear and quality gear so I can get that in the hands of the right people. And if that doesn't get me the commission, I don't care. It's nice to get the affiliate, money to it, but really, I want you guys to be able to give the kind of gifts for people who do what we do as efficiently and inexpensively and reliably as possible. So while that's going on, I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to my new rig here. I'm going to go to Amazon because I will be talking about a couple things through there. Polypropylene. We'll say sword. That'll work for now. That'll get me where I need to go, most likely. Alrighty. So getting through the chat, we have a whole bunch of links, including those to my books. Because if they haven't read my books, please consider sending them my books. I consider them to be of great quality. Now, first through the door was Foxy. Hey, Foxy, how are you doing? And, well, is it going to show? And I finally hit the strain point on my system. It is raining rather severely, and that seems to be interfering with my net. So let me do one other thing rather quickly, because that should boink. That should there we go. Ooh, okay, my net's rather unstable. We'll do what we can with what we've got. Typical, losing my voice, all swollen up, and and there are storms coming through. Would not surprise me. But good evening, Foxy. And we're joined by Alec. Hey, Alec, thank you for enduring the suffering I put you through earlier. And we've got Thesis too. Let me just go that and see if that doesn't make things work a little better. Yep. Okay. My net is being dodgy. It's not my computer's problem. It's just that there's a big storm outside. God, I am poofy today. Okay, we'll deal with that. Oh, wrong glasses. Wrong glasses. I'm going to get yelled at. Probably already have in the chat. Well, that's a little bit better. Next time. Yep, next time we're going to get this going. Props on the Christmas Vacation shirt. We were watching the original a couple days ago. This is one of my all-time favorite movies, and it isn't Christmas season until I've watched it. And I do love, because I was checking, and there are actual typos on this shirt, which makes it even a little better. My lovely wife got this for me, and I wanted to start December off right, Oh, we're joined by Kat Rothermel. Hello, my dear. How are you? I hope you can make the haul out February 24th for the Independent Creator Convention, IndieCD.con, that I'm holding in Fowler, Indiana. I'd love to see you at least come by as a visitor. And if you want to talk about setting up a booth, let me know. But, this is my link to the D-Link trainer because we had a typo higher up. And Foxy says, oh no, take care of yourself. Yes, I am sorry. I just walked, and Mandy saw me. I walked into the Fresh Time in Lafayette, Indiana, and I just started sweating ridiculously, got dizzy, and realized I'm swelling up. So I had to leave. It was a whole thing. But that's not going to stop me. You think of some type of mild to moderate allergic reaction is going to stop me from doing my show? Heck no. I'm here for you guys. You know that. Well, hello there. Hello there, General Kep Nobi. How are you, my dear? And get some great gifts. Amazon stores. Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tucker. That's right. Please, it's a great time. And I could use it. Tune into the Historical Fencing Guild Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Just getting into swords. Pick up the Simple Sword by the amazing Nicholas A. Tucker. Thank you. And tune in here to this channel right now. And support Nick's efforts to teach people how to be safely dangerous. Cindy is not just a friend. She is one of my lovely and amazing Patreon folks who deal with the little things, because they keep saying, Nick, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing and that video. So I have to figure out, reaction videos are really hard to do and not get copyright struck. The staff training video we will see about. I might make the Staying Away from Creeps video a Patreon exclusive for a while, and the Gorget making and making a drawing from a scabbard. The craft videos may become Patreon exclusives for a while as it gets cold and we're moving some things around. My basement is almost clean enough, theoretically, that I can spend time down there. There were problems. It's, as Cindy knows, it's hard when you are allergic to everything. One novel about sword fighting, I know where you can find two. Yes, Cindy Kemp does amazing fiction involving sword fighting, and I really recommend it to here. And let's see. I know of one that isn't written by anyone here, but is written by someone who did Hema for many years. It's a pretty good book. Put it in the link, please. Anything you can promote that would be good for the people who are trying to figure out what they could get their viewers, get their sword fighting friends for Christmas. What can they ask for Christmas, or whatever holiday is relevant to you that happens to involve gifts around this time of year. Check out some cool art, deviantart.com/NickT. Thank you. Find it cool indie creator source, IndieCD.org. Yep, they help keep the lights on. You could also get a hold of me, and I will make you a boffer weapon of your preferred, a boffer version of your preferred weapon, and shameless self-promotion. That's amazing. We'll keep on that. I want to go back to that because I want to make sure that your boffer, if you're making boffers and you can make them AmpGuard legal, so you'll have to download the AmpGuard book and check their rules. I might be able to recommend some people to your business. And find out more about Eastern Martial Arts, youtube.com/@BladedThesis. Bladed Thesis does his tea house where he talks about martial arts on Saturdays. You guys need to watch them. Thanks, City. Yeah, you sure, you betcha. But the 3-inch does need to be a certain diameter. And that's true. When they ordered stuff, the skinnier pieces went to light fighters for marshalling staves. And they do work real well. That is really weird that you say that, because rattan does not split in any of the experience I've ever seen. Rattan becomes mushy because it's actually a reed. It's not wood. Wood will split and break. Rattan is a bamboo-y stuff that as it breaks down, the fibers break and it becomes more cloth-like. So they soften. Very interesting. I've never heard of one split and break. Wood will. That's why I do not recommend wood trainers for contact. For drilling, for point control drills, absolutely. I also find wood, because it's completely unforgiving, great for calibration drills against a target that can handle it. But the SCA heavy fighters, since nearly the inception, have used rattan weapons. And white waxwood is great stuff too, but it's just fascinating. Cindy Kemp says, I've been learning how to play the monster-sized drum for the lion dance. I am very excited about that. Plan is for me to be the backup drummer for the lion dance and backup drummer for the demos. That's awesome. Drums for lion dance are awesome. Drum in general is good for performance. I have been known to play hand drums. Definitely. Singing bowls are fun too. I like singing bowls. Hi, kitty. And I like singing bowls too. All right. Tallhofer Society. Yes, that's a great book. And I can recommend a few other books, books that I didn't write. First and foremost, the Tom Leone. Let me see. I will come over here and go and find it, and then I will put the link in the chat. This is my favorite translation. Let's see, Gigante. rapier. Let's see if it's going to be that easy. Polypropylene weapons, probably. Aha! Ooh. The tooth. Now, this is not the only person selling this, because this is not the right option, because the Rapier of the Soleil has a lot more copies out there that are not running. Ooh, there's some new translations too. Anyway, Gigante's the Soleil, or his Rapier manual, is fundamental reading. I have read the Tom Leone translation for years. There is a new translation out there, and Tom has translated a second volume. So there is a sequel, and I need to get those back in my collection. They are part of the Doomed collection. And let's see, Amazon.com/Butterfly Swords Tang Dynasty book ebook. I will definitely take. Okay, come on. I will take your word for it. These are great books. I would recommend, if you want to do Eastern, and I think Thesis will agree with me. There it goes. Dr. Yang Jwing Ming. He has great videos. He has great books. He's just a pillar of Chinese martial arts as a resource, and one of my all-time favorites. I've learned a lot from his resources. Fundamentals of the Sword, it's a DVD. It is almost a necessary view if you are going to get into Chinese swordsmanship, especially related to the Jin. Because the approach is very different than Western. Of course, it can all overlap. You just have different effects going on. So, thank you for the book recommendations, and please throw any of yours. I'm really looking forward to a fiction book called Suitable Arrangements that's coming out. But yes, let's see. Dr. Yang is an awesome resource for Chinese martial arts. I have 3 of his books and planning on getting more. He's basically, if you need a one-stop shop. I think Guy Windsor wrote the Swordsman's Companion. He's written a whole bunch of fencing books, and almost all of them are very high quality, high end books. And let me see. The Swordsman's Companion, Guy Windsor. It is actually, if you are going to get into certain styles, something I would definitely read. And I would read The Duelist's Companion as well, if you can get them. And those are both going for about $10 on Amazon. So, these are also great gifts for your sword friends. Let's see. I don't know where it is. I have a great book on Scottish fencing. Hold on. This is another one I'd like to recommend, and this is one I have handy. A Scottish Fencing presented by Maestro Jared Kirby. Instructions, historical essays by Maestro Paul McDonald and Ben Miller. This is a great reference. Ah, I see. Suitable Arrangement is in the queue for After Mosaics IGG happens and fulfills. Wonderful. Most recently, I picked up his book on Tai Chi push hands, along with Tai Chi sword and Secrets of Yang style Tai Chi. Wonderful. And that's one thing that I love, that the sorry if I'm shaking things. I have to. My temporary setup that's been going for about 5 years is starting to end. It's my tolerance for it as a temporary setup, and will be soon back in the realm of a folding chair for folding table for conventions, because I might have a lead on my convention stuff. But there are some great. Okay, There are some really great books out here. Uh, if you can find, and a lot of them, the historical manuals, look around. You can find the PDFs. There are a lot of translations. Oh, hi, Dark Moon. Hold on. And sorry, I'm being very quiet doing my nails tonight. That's fine, Foxy. Good evening, my fellow swordsmen and women. Great to see you, Dark Moon. Yeah, right now we're talking about Christmas recommendations, and I covered some basic, relatively low-cost trainers that people could find on Purple Heart Armory, which I do really like. And we were just doing some book exchange discussions. Some of people's favorite manuals. Let's see. I do enjoy George Silver's Paradoxes of Defense. One, because it is native English. I mean, it is an older form of English, but it is fairly legible, and you have less translation issues. And two, it has some of the best Swordmaster on other Swordmaster shade that I've ever seen thrown. Now, before I get into this, I love Spanish Rapier. I think it is an elegant and beautiful style for dueling. It is a dueling style. And hello, Blue Teddy. But, and before we go over, La Verdadera Destreza, it is a DVD series, and I found out they've added another into it. I used to have all of them. Again, several were damaged. You have a fire, a flood, and get kicked out of a house in a matter of a few years. You get separated from some things. But it's very, very expensive. Last time I checked, they were $70 or $80 for the DVD, but they were brilliant if you want to learn either Italian fencing from his Italian DVDs or Spanish. But it was interesting that the English had a response to Spanish fencing. They had a response to the rapier, and the more devoted side sword people are they really were not happy with this new style of fighting, and they found it to be deceptive, is a way of putting it, and it killed so many duelists that at the docks there was a guy. If you're going to England, you'd lay your sword down, and if your sword was longer than so long, if it was a rapier, they would take a big old axe and just chop the end right off. Whether this is true or not, it's hard to confirm, but it's a great story, and I do love a great story. But Silver's responses are interesting, and the George Silver approach to parry dagger can be condensed into the simplest way to use an offhand weapon that isn't a shield. And so it's so easy, I can do it right here. And I'm going to grab, for the purpose of this discussion, some very old friends. Not my prettiest friends. I may bring some of those up. My beloved cup hilt rapier. Right? And I am using, for the purpose of this discussion, my backup dagger. Now, I would really recommend something with a better hilt. So a main gouge would be golden for this. Something with a basket hilt. But parry high, parry low, windshield washer. This is the basis. You put your thumb flat, flat thumb, parry high, parry low. All this worries about is knocking something to the high line, low line, and keeping your sword free. It's a very defensive approach to dagger, but it works. And that is born in a incredibly condensed and simplified version of George Silver's Paradoxes of Defense. But it's always good when you have a chance, and please, these files exist. You can find the PDFs. I have no problem paying for an edited version or a translated version. But remember that the source material is still open source. Should be available. Now, there's a lovely conversation going on in the chat while I was prattling about George Silver and telling you guys how to parry things. So I'm going to hop into that because part of that chat is push hands is a great idea for learning body mechanics and feeling out your opponent. If you want something a bit more dynamic, try Wing Chun Chi Sao. Pardon my enunciation. I loved push hands. I was learning push hands again quite a long time ago with a gentleman by the name of John Miner. It was fascinating, and it really did affect my development of tacto, how I take information in from blade to blade contact, and developing that sense of, are they pushing, are they yielding, do I want either of these things to occur, can be very well generated from that more Eastern approach. And we have everyone's being greeted. And we're going to find out how Dark Moon is doing in just a moment. And it seems like everybody's doing well. And, Teddy, I'm pretty sure I said hi, but if I didn't, hi, Blue Teddy. Differences between the women's and men's push hands competitions are peculiar. I would like to find that. I am doing well. A late, rather short shift at work, sitting in the bar. Now, enjoying the stream, a small glass of champagne to celebrate. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're enjoying this program in style, sir. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Men's freestyle, and there is a video. I will have to watch that. I can't right now because I don't have the right to broadcast their stuff around, but I hadn't really thought about the difference between men's and women's push hands. So freestyle versus fixed step. If you could, I'd say verbalize, but through text, give us an idea on the difference. Because I'm very egalitarian in my training. I train everybody the same style all the way through till they reach what I consider basic competency. And I don't have a real ranking system. It's either somebody is somebody who's a student, or, well, actually there's new people, and I prefer to work with them exclusively to make sure they're safe first, then students, then instructors, and that's it. My goal is to turn everyone into an instructor, that they know their style well enough that they can teach what they are learning to others. But it's so I don't split men and women unless I've had a specific request. Now, granted, many of my students come to me with additional difficulties. They are either dealing with trauma, they're dealing with a physical limitation, things like that. And I help them work through that and, prosper in spite of that is my goal. And I do like the word spite. I am a rather spiteful person, but in a positive way. Now, let's see. Thesis says, one of my favorite tactics against bigger opponents is not to use force against force. If someone's pushing against me and wants to go backwards, I let them. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Fixed step, no moving your feet. And that's interesting. Okay, that's very intriguing. The bigger they are, indeed. Works with dancers too, using their own momentum against them. And that's actually how we approach a lot of when we look at the subclasses of people that we are fencing, because in The Simple Sword, for those of you who have read it, it really is my teaching methodology. We break down the different types of fighter that you're likely to approach by their behavior. And for dancers and aggressive fencers being able to yield and redirect. And that's the trick. They expect to run over you like a wave. And you are indeed providing resistance, but you are not resisting to match their force. You're resisting to deflect their force, which is something I'm rather fond of doing, to the point where I find fellow defensive fighters and more cautious fighters a very different kind of fight. Let's see. Restricted step. Your front foot stays in front. Your back foot stays at that, but you can move them one at a time. Okay. Freestyle. You can move as much as you want, but as soon as you're off balance, you lose. The difference between men's and women's push hands in that competition was not in the rules, but rather how the competitors approached it. See, that is a wonderful study. What a delightful opportunity to see that very difference. Because, okay, I have to phrase this very carefully. When we are dealing with combat and this type of physical altercation, unless there have been significant changes, someone whose biology is more female, and I have to put it that way now so that there's no confusion, is going to have a lower center of gravity, but likely less proportionate upper body strength. Again, there are exceptions, but it's harder. And likely more proportional leg strength. So the engagement is a little different. Whereas a male traditionally has more upper body strength, longer reach usually, oftentimes is more aggressive and taught to be more aggressive. And I think it's fascinating. If you want really dizzying experience, look up Bagua push hands. They continue to walk in circles while pushing hands. In men's divisions, the majority of guys, as soon as the judge said go, would shove as hard as they could and try to use brute force. So they're trying to basically sumo their way through a push hand session. Push hands is an exercise that is much like wrestling, in that you're standing and you try to knock someone off balance while standing and maintaining contact with the hands usually. Sometimes you can roll depending on who's doing what, the arms. I'm sure Cindy can be more elaborate about it, but it is a fascinating practice, and it will teach you a lot about how your center of gravity is working, how your how good you are at pivoting and deflecting, how good you are at simply overwhelming your opponent, if applicable. Being that I'm a littler guy, I mean, I'm a heavy guy now, but I'm a shorter guy with shorter reach. I had to play it as a very defensive thing to be able to maintain my goal and hope to draw them in off their own balance by them overextending. And a lot of that's by redirecting them or providing just enough force that they feel they have to add more, and then when they do, releasing and redirecting them. Kind of Aikido-ish. Dabbling in Tai Chi got me accused of being an Aikido practitioner at one point. It's interesting to look up. Western guys don't usually look at Eastern techniques, and Eastern guys don't usually look at Western techniques. This is one of the reasons why the Historical Fencing Guild exists. We hope to be a bridge and a Rosetta Stone between many different styles and rule sets so that everyone can get in and enjoy martial arts, weapon-based martial arts especially, safely and find a way that works for you. Because it's not about me telling you how to fight. I'm not saying this is the right way, this is the wrong way. I teach a very rudimentary style and a simple, basic style. And then throughout, a couple books, I've added small things to it. I've added the applications of axe with the same technique. I've added applications of a spear with the same kind of technique. But when I work with someone, none of my students fight exactly the same. The only person who fights almost exactly the same to me and very very close would be Trelena. And even then she has some differences because she is a biological female. That means her hips move slightly different, her knees move slightly different, her center body is in a different place. Now, when I talk about that sort of thing, there's no judgment other than the scientific approach to leverage and things like that. But let's see. Some guys I can point out in the videos, examples of them actually used some Tai Chi techniques rather than brute force. But those gents were not the majority, though they did seem to actually do better, though. Robert, my instructor, placed in second. Good for him. And I see, so I know exactly what that is. Okay, my bad. No, not your bad. There's no harm there. No. One of the house rules of this channel is any genuinely presented question, if you don't know, I respect people saying, I don't know, because that means I'm free to say, I don't know, but let me see if I can't find out, or let me ask somebody who knows. That's a big part of what we do. The video didn't show Robert's winning bouts, focused instead on the guys from the school recording it, which makes sense. Robert was just fine like that. He said that that way his real style couldn't be analyzed and used against him next year. Hey, does this sound familiar? Haven't I been for years, and I'm sorry, my voice is getting a little rough, telling you guys that record your bouts so that you can assess them later? And the women's competition, they were virtually statues and far more likely to off-balance the opponent with subtle movements. That's why I've studied women more than men, because I don't plan on relying on brute strength, because that is something I genuinely lack. Oh, okay. And to be fair, the video of the guys was freestyle, and the video of the gals was fixed steps, so slightly different allowable moves. Very true. But you still can see the attitudes. And I love when you find nuances like that. I was in an altercation with someone who had about 100 pounds on me. I started by trying to push him against him. When I realized that it wasn't good work, I just turned slightly to the one side and let him hit one wall behind me. Yes, now I'm going to pause on that because it's always a good point to pause in this kind of thing. You want to be very, very, very careful with that sort of thing, because unfortunately, for as sturdy as the human body is, it is also equally fragile. And that's a great way to cop an accidental manslaughter charge if you're not careful. So you always want to avoid physical altercations. And oh my, yes, record that. I wish to see you now. I watched Push Hands videos earlier this week, and I noticed a distinct lack of actual Tai Chi movements. It was very much like people said, just trying to sumo each other. Cindy says, I'm planning to compete in fixed step. Excellent. Robert and I discussed the options and decided with my squirrely hip, best to stay stationary. A jarring step in unexpected directions might be bad. Yes, as somebody with a undiagnosable hypermobility condition, I love when your medical professional looks at you and goes, well, you got something. Don't know what it is, but I saw it when I went to move your foot and went, wee. Taking care and working in a rule set that allows you to participate in such a way that you don't hurt yourself. This is very important. You should look at all the rules that you're engaging in when you're deciding if you're participating in a martial arts kind of situation, be it amp guard with their buffers, be it what we do, be it bow hurt and full plate armor, and really assess your body's capability to withstand the impacts, the maneuvers, the speed, and make sure you're learning things and training in things that aren't going to permanently break you, but build you up, not tear you down. I'll still learn the others as part of Tai Chi curriculum at the school, but it's more in a more controlled environment. And that's perfect. That's how you learn, guys. And I do not, because one other thing people ask is, do you recommend, styles or dojos or whatever? I can't do that, guys. I don't know anything about your local martial arts organizations, so I can't really say that. I can say you can learn a lot in the SCA if you're okay with the LARP aspects of it and you don't let the LARP aspects get in your way. And I hate to put it that way, but it is vaguely necessary. And it does depend greatly on your group. I recently, and shockingly, I've mentioned Amp Guard of all things a couple times lately. They impressed me at the beginning of November, so almost a month ago, when I was at LodgeCon in Piatone, Illinois. I got to meet the local Amp Guard folks out there, watch their fighting, and I was suitably impressed in that they have improved greatly. There are still some obvious what I'd call training scars from fighting an organization where headshots are considered illegal, but I saw a lot more development, a lot better footwork, a lot more thought put into it. And I was really glad to be involved at that day. And I dropped some of my books off with them to see if it's of any help to them. And it's a really good opportunity. And let's see, controlled environment is important. I hate my old boffer group because they had no style or system, just flailed around indiscriminately. And you can find that. And remember, unless you've signed some kind of contract in blood or you've been drafted into the military, you should be able to walk away from any dojo, any martial arts group, any organization that makes you feel uncomfortable. Okay? There are others out there. And with the internet, we have more and more opportunity to find them. And one of the great things about what we do now is with the internet, I can connect with people like you guys all over the world, all over the United States. But for physical training, you still have to FaceTime. You have to be in meat space. I love that term. Not dystopian at all. With someone to eventually learn and test yourselves. And I will encourage you, whenever possible, if you can find a group, one of the best gifts you can give yourself is to cross-train with as many people and as many groups as you can. Learn from them and take what works for you and apply it to what you do. Take what doesn't and disregard it. That's how I've developed my approach to fighting. That combined with some limitations that I imposed on myself because of my situation and my training in therapeutic self-defense, is the best way to put it. Crisis prevention and intervention, CPI, also known as Hug Fu in certain circles. But because I used to work with severely mentally and physically handicapped individuals who were extremely behavioral. I because of my son's difficulties, I still work with someone with a good deal of that. And that means I cannot allow extremely aggressive techniques to return to my fighting vocabulary too easily. So there's always going to be a holdback and a caution there. And Cindy says, the competition divides divisions by men and women and experience levels. I'll have over 1.5 years of experience by the time I get in the competition, so I'll be in the beginner group. Wonderful. I hope you can have that recorded. I hope that that you obviously I hope that you do well, but I hope more that you learn more from it. Yes, love that. You might have either Ehlers-Danlos or hypermobility spectrum disorder. Can we nail it down? Nope. Cool. Eye roll. Yeah. Don't forget to like and all that. And I think next week I will go into a bit more detail about my personal philosophy about force against force and push-outs. That sounds like a great topic. And rest assured, when people find your stuff, they will appreciate it. And they'll go back in. It's like, if you guys want to see a bit of money where my mouth is, when you're done with this live stream, go on down, look up the sparring sessions. There should be playlists. If not, just dig through. You'll see so-and-so versus so-and-so over the years. If you go backwards, my hair turns darker and I get skinnier. But it's an adventure, and it's worth it. And even if I am limited by, as I age and deal with the assorted injuries, the knowledge is still there, and I share it as I can. Foxy says, I'm in the same boat, Cindy. Good evening, Ogre. Always glad to hear from you, good sir. You have a seizure disorder, but not epilepsy. Any way to find out what? Nope. Cool. Eye roll. Yeah. Hi. They don't know why I had that as a child. They don't know why it quit. They just threw a lot of medicine in the 80s at it. But to get a little bit back on topic and reminder, guys, please use my affiliate link. I will try to put the direct links that are in the chat, either in the description. The document that I'm setting up, I will put out, because I'm going to expand it more, on the Historical Fencing Guild public group, one way or another. And I will make it available for my Patreon folks, because some folks don't like Facebook. And sorry, I went a little OT. It happens. Meanwhile, back at the martial arts phenomenon, yes. No, it happens because part of our channels and my personal focus is adaptation, guys. So I have to adapt my training and my approach to what works for you. And Cindy is promoting my books again. Some cool books, Amazon.com/store/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Talker. Please feel free to stop by there. The money that goes to my books basically tends to run towards the Historical Fencing Guild anyway, when I'm not using it for emergency things or funding conventions. It's a whole tangled lot, and I'm trying to make it better for everyone involved. I do want to say Amazon has some great trainers of moderate quality. If you have to go cheaper, be careful. But the Jawu trainers, Jaawuu, I believe, or Wuja. My dyslexia gets me every time. Have made some great trainers. I have some of them. They are very functional as a lot. There are one or two I would tell you to keep away from. Let me see. Oh, God. Yes. I will bring that up, too. This is the Eagle ring knife. Woo, that looks cool, doesn't it? This is a Jawu trainer. You can tell the company because it has this little yin yang in almost a shuriken shape. Let me see if I can get to show on camera. Can I? Maybe. Okay, we're starting to get it. You can sort of see it, but okay. The problem is this is going to break somebody's finger. If you try to do a sparring session with this, due to the thickness and the way the grip is, it will break somebody's finger. I cannot recommend that, which really stinks because without it, this is a very positive grip. This is a very nice little trainer. It is also very, very sharp. So I would almost consider rounding off the tip of it. I may just try that to see what happens with this trainer. Put that back. Not Purple Heart. Cold Steel makes a whole lot of polypropylene trainers. This is their Kukuri. I can definitely recommend this. It holds up incredibly well. The only exception with the Cold Steel is the Axe Game trainer is made of softer plastic than this, and it dings, and those dings actually become quite sharp. So as much as I love the design of the Axe Game trainer, I can never recommend that. And at one point, CRKT made trainers based on their knives, and this is the gnarliest kind of knife they did, the FE9. FE was the 9 is the blade length. I love this trainer. It is a great trainer, incredibly positive grip, just enough flex to be fairly safe. But all those can be found on Amazon. I don't have specific links for them right now. I may just give you guys a walkthrough on Amazon next week as we lead up into Christmas to make it a little easier. I haven't checked the dates for. Let me look at something real quick. Is it going to tell me or is it not? No, it won't. Let me go over here then. Friday. Yes, none of the holiday stuff should be bothering any of my broadcasts for the foreseeable future. So I should be able to keep, unless something medical happens, online doing a 8 p.m. broadcast just to make life easier. For 8 p.m. my time, it's 7 p.m. Cindy's. So we will keep talking about the trainers, and then as we go into January, I plan to transition back over to building back up, getting back in shape, because we're very likely to bring in some people who want to use swordsmanship to regain strength and dexterity and things like that, and lose a bit of the grief bacon. And I want to help if I can. I am not a personal trainer. I'm not a medical guy. I'm just a guy who knows how to make swords go. But with that, I am starting to feel it in my voice quite a bit. It's cracking, and I really don't want to completely lose my voice with guests coming over tomorrow. So I believe I am going to call it. Thank you all for a lovely program. Again, I'll put the links up around where you can find them, and there are some really great things coming down the pipe, and I look forward to talking to you all very soon. Time for that, Pastor, you later. And we're joined by Cindy Cap because it moved. Good evening and goodbye, folks. Thanks, Joe. And thanks for coming in, Ogre. Sorry you didn't get a lot of the time, but I'm glad you made it. We will see you all next Friday for another episode of the Historical Fencing Guild live stream. You can see us on, you see me on the sister network to this, the Nicholas Tockert channel, where I host a program Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m., usually to 11 or a little bit after, encouraging authors, artists, and other creatives to keep creating. We talk about the problems in the field, our interests, our accountability, and just try to build each other up. So please check that. You also might find me doing Art Time with Nick, which is my drawing programs. They can pop up at the end of my Wednesday show or on Saturdays during the weekend. It just depends on how my world is. ironing out. So with that, guys, do your drills, keep your guard up, be kind to yourself and each other, and as always, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. I will see you next week. Have a great day.